Welcome to my boring opinion.
Okay, I'm back again, and in this video, I'm going to talk about whether or not they should make a Dragon Ball GT reboot. Now, that might not be the exact title of this video, however, it would be like something in that area. Okay, so, as we all know, Dragon Ball GT, you know, it could use a lot of improvements. I mean, it's not perfect. There's some stuff that they could have done better. They should have done better, and it's kind of disappointing. It's kind of a disappointment that it didn't. You know, I wish it showed more of the Z fighters that we know from Dragon Ball Z. You know, instead of showing them as cameos and stuff. So there's certain areas that it needs to be redone. It needs to be it probably does need to be rebooted to you know, to fix a few corrections. However, with Dragon Ball Super, I believe that a reboot of Dragon Ball GT would be made in the context of if Dragon Ball Super had happened, and that therefore it wouldn't work out. Because Dragon Ball Super has a lot more mistakes, and maybe, not sure they would be like plot holes or not, than Dragon Ball GT. I mean, for one thing, in the first episode of Dragon Ball Super, you have Trunks and Gohan supposed to be 12 and 13 years old. At least. And right now, I never watched when they were airing on TV because I knew that it would have a lot of mistakes in it. And then one day I decided, well, I probably shouldn't like criticize something without having watching the whole thing first. So that's what I've been doing since about July, June, something like that. And I'm on Funimation now. I'm up to like the beginning of the Tournament of Power. Like the like maybe it's not quite there, but it's just before what is called the Tournament of Power. And if I'm not mistaken, by that time, Shenron was shown 3 or 4 times. So, trying to figure out how many years would have gone by that time. But Dragon Ball Super, I mean, by that point though, Goten and Trunks should have been teenagers. Probably close to 15 and 16. Somewhere in that area. Let's see, Dragon Ball. See, at the end of Dragon Ball Z, Trunks should have been 18. Goten should have been 17. So this right here is probably about 3 or 4 years before that. Because I'm pretty sure Bola is supposed to be 3 during at the end of Dragon Ball Super. I mean, at the end of Dragon Ball Z, I mean. And Dragon Ball Super takes place in between that, so yeah. So Bola's probably supposed to be around 3 at the end of Dragon Ball Z, so that would mean that Goten should be about 14, and Trunks should be somewhere around 15. And even if you could argue that Saiyans age slower, I mean, how do you explain in the history of Trunks when that 13-year-old Trunks, no, excuse me, 14-year-old Trunks actually did look about 14? I mean, for most of the movie, like when he was training with Gohan, that Trunks was about 14 years old. And also, how do you explain Krillin and 18's daughter, Marion, who at the beginning of Dragon Ball Super should have been 8 years old? And probably at where I'm at now, about the same amount of power, should have been close to 10. No, 9, 10. Somewhere in that area. So when you add that and so you take that into consideration, not to mention the higher power levels. I don't have time to go over Resurrection F, the power level that Frieza stated it. Well, at least in Super, Frieza didn't officially state his power level. Anyways, Super Saiyan God is already more powerful than Super Saiyan 4. So, and even if they were to somehow remake that and make the enemies, to make the GT villains stronger, it would still be continuing from the plot line, from the storyline, which already has a bunch of mistakes that I could see. Especially on the ages of the characters. It'd be a continuation of more mistakes. They'd mess up a lot of stuff. I mean, even if you could say that Dragon Ball GT needs a reboot, it doesn't need a reboot to make it worse. It needs improvements, and if it gets a reboot, it's not going to get any improvements. It's going to get worse. Especially because I believe that a reboot would include the context of Dragon Ball Super. Since Dragon Ball GT came out years, let's see, in Japan it came out in the mid-90s, about the same time Dragon Ball Z was coming out in the United States. So probably a good 18 years, somewhere around that area, before Dragon Ball Super came out. Officially, so I mean, because Dragon Ball GT came out in Japan way before it came out, about 8 years way before it. Yeah, Dragon Ball GT came out in the United States somewhere around 2003, 2004. Seeing how long I've been filming, how to use a stopwatch. I don't want this video to be ooh, too long. I can go on. So Dragon Ball GT, which does need a reboot, would get worse if they add the context of GT. I mean, excuse me, of Dragon Ball Super. Matter of fact, they should redo Dragon Ball Super and put in the characters' correct ages. And remove and fix out their plot hole on Goku Black and Zamasu. I mean, it doesn't make sense for Zamasu to become Goku Black as a result of Goku in going over there to investigate Well, not just Goku. As a result of Goku, Beerus and Whis going over to Universe 10 to investigate who Goku Black was. Makes no sense. It just makes no sense. It should have had it that Goku Black came from a storyline where he found out about Goku some other way and was fascinated by that power, and he had to have that power, or something like he already knew about Goku, or he found out about Goku some other way. I mean, that would have made more sense than him finding out about Goku because Trunks came back from the past to win because of Goku Black and so yeah. So Dragon Ball Super has tons of mistakes, stuff that don't really add up, starting from the ages of the characters. The storyline would probably be better if they got the ages of the characters more accurate, and that they got it right. I mean, Vegeta's flashback. Okay, so according to what I understand, Vegeta is about 6 years older than Goku. And if you take Dragon Ball Z, Bardock the Father of Goku, seriously, then you have Goku leaving. You have Goku being sent off to Earth when he's days old. However, now I'm hearing stuff that Goku was actually 3 when he was sent to Earth. So I'm not sure how they worked that out. Anyways, so you have Vegeta, who even looked about 6 years old, and Bardock the Father of Goku. Now, if Bardock the Father of Goku, if they messed up Goku's age or something, then I don't know. And you'd never know about that. Because since that's like pre-Dragon Ball, it seems like it's kind of open to a few things. Except, yeah, Vegeta being 6 years old by the time Planet Vegeta was destroyed, and by the time his father was killed. And yet, in the Dragon Ball Super flashback, in Dragon Ball Super episode, when Vegeta first meets Beerus, the Destroyer, he has like a flashback, and in that flashback of when he was a kid, he looked much older than 6, probably somewhere between 10 and 12. Somewhere around that area. He looked a little bit older than 6, most definitely, in that flashback. And we don't know how much before that destruction that event actually occurred. That took place. Now, if Goku was 3 at the time Beerus the Destroyer originally took his nap, then that's probably where they figured up the 39-year thing. Because if you take Bardock the Father of Goku seriously, it implies that Goku was days old when he was sent to Earth. And 39 years later would make Goku 39 years old. But he should have been in his early 40s in the beginning of Dragon Ball Super. However, if Goku was 3 when he was sent to Earth, then that's probably where they got the 39-year thing from. Because if Goku was 3, then in 39 years, dude, would make a little bit more sense than if I just threw that away. Brought up the father of Goku, they got Goku's age wrong. Yeah, you know, yeah. So they could probably just, yeah, do that. And also, Dragon Ball Super, they seem to have Bulma being younger than Goku. I mean, unless she lied about her age or something. Bulma is like 5 years older than Goku. So so Dragon Ball Super has a lot of mistakes. A lot of it. And some of the storylines, like that, could have been better if they've added the character's correct age. If they have Marin, now Krillin 18's daughter, being the correct age, and Goten and Trunks being their correct age, and Gohan being his correct age. Which, by the way, that's another problem with the whole Saiyan's aging slow argument. I mean, Gohan didn't seem to age very slowly. So the whole Saiyan aging slow argument probably only works for pure-blooded Saiyans. Because even when Gohan was 11, he was still bigger than what Goku was at 12. Dang. This video is long, dude. Okay, I guess I better end this video here. So, we consider all the mistakes in Dragon Ball Super, which is a lot worse than the mistakes in Dragon Ball GT, in the plot holes and stuff in GT. And GT still has a few plot holes. I mean, GT is not perfect itself. However, Super has lots more plot holes than GT's, and mistakes, and whatever you want to call them. There's stuff that don't add up. GT has a few things that don't add up, and they could have done the story a little bit better. And perhaps a redo could have been used to correct all those mistakes. But since Dragon Ball Super was made, a redo would be made in the context of Dragon Ball Super. And and also I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say? Don't you hate when you lose your train of thought or something? So when you know that something has a lot of mistakes in it, and you know, and it needs to be fixed, and they've done something else, and now even Dragon Ball Z has a few, I'm gonna call them like minor plot holes, like stuff that you wouldn't really notice firsthand because it's so small. That's actually what makes them good. Like, we'd have to stop and think to even realize that's how minor of a plot hole it is. However, I don't have time to go over that. I'll go over that in a later video. I mean, I still like Dragon Ball Z in Dragon Ball series. Dragon Ball Super, that's the most questionable one of the bunch so far. Dragon Ball Z, however, I mean, so, yeah, I lost my train of thought again. And this video is over 20 minutes long. And with all the mistakes of Dragon Ball Z, of Dragon Ball Super, A remake of Dragon Ball GT would make Dragon Ball GT even worse, and that's why a Dragon Ball GT reboot wouldn't work. And that's it for this video. Bye.
This has been my boring opinion.
Thanks for watching my video, and feel free to check out TubeBuddy. The link is in the description.